Chapter 1. The Discovery. Alice had always been fascinated by the world of monsters. As an apprentice to the renowned monsterologist Dr. Gregory, she spent her days studying ancient texts and accompanying him on field trips to remote locations in search of new and undiscovered species. But even with her extensive training and experience, Alice never could have prepared for the incredible discovery she was about to make. It was a typical field trip for Dr. Gregory and Alice as they trudged through the dense forest, searching for any signs of unusual activity. The day had been uneventful until Alice heard a strange noise in the distance. She couldn't quite make out what it was, but it sounded like some sort of animal. "Dr. Gregory, do you hear that?" she asked, pointing in the direction of the noise. He listened for a moment, then shook his head. "I don't hear anything, Alice. It's probably just the wind." But Alice was convinced that she had heard something. She set off in the direction of the noise, with Dr. Gregory reluctantly following behind. After a few minutes of walking, she came to a small clearing in the forest. And there, in the center of the clearing, stood the most incredible creature she had ever seen. It stood about 6 feet tall, with a body covered in thick shaggy fur. Its head was long and narrow, with 2 large expressive eyes and a pair of curved horns that sprouted from its forehead. Its arms ended in powerful clawed hands, and it had a long prehensile tail that it used to balance itself. Alice couldn't believe her eyes. This was no ordinary monster, it was something entirely new and unknown to science. She turned to Dr. Gregory, expecting to see the same sense of wonder and excitement on his face. But instead, he looked skeptical. "Alice, I don't know what you're seeing, but I assure you that there is no creature there," Dr. Gregory said in a doubtful tone. But Alice was not going to be deterred. She approached the creature slowly, her hands raised in a peaceful gesture. It seemed to sense her presence, and it turned its head to look at her. For a moment, they locked eyes, and Alice felt a connection form between them. It was then Dr. Gregory saw the creature too. He couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly took out his notebook and started jotting down notes and observations. As they continued to study the creature, they discovered that it was far more intelligent and sentient than they had initially believed. Despite the excitement of the discovery, Dr. Gregory was hesitant to reveal the creature to the world, as he feared that it may be hunted or exploited. But Alice was convinced that it was their responsibility to share their discovery with the world, and with time and research, the two of them formed an unlikely friendship as they worked together to understand and protect the creature. Chapter 2. The study begins. After the initial discovery of the strange creature in the forest, Dr. Gregory and Alice couldn't wait to begin their study on this new species. They spent the next few days in the clearing, taking detailed notes on the creature's behavior and biology. Alice couldn't help but be fascinated by this new creature and its complex behaviors. Dr. Gregory took charge of documenting the creature's physical characteristics, while Alice focused on its behavior, studying its actions and reactions to different stimuli. They had to be careful not to spook the creature, but it seemed to be aware of their presence and allowed them to study it. As the days passed, Alice and Dr. Gregory began to realize that this creature was far more intelligent and sentient than they had initially believed. It was able to communicate with them in a basic way, using simple gestures and vocalizations. They discovered that it had a complex social structure and that it was capable of forming deep emotional bonds. Despite their growing understanding of the creature, Dr. Gregory remained hesitant to reveal its existence to the world. He was afraid that it would be hunted or exploited, and that its unique intelligence and sentience would be dismissed by the scientific community. Alice, on the other hand, felt that it was their responsibility to share their discovery with the world. She believed that the creature had a right to exist in peace, and that it could teach them so much about the natural world and the evolution of intelligence. The two of them had different perspectives on the creature, but they both agreed on one thing: the creature was unique and must be protected. They knew that with time and research, they could find a way to share their discovery with the world without endangering the creature. Chapter 3. Alice's Obsession. As Alice and Dr. Gregory continued their study of the creature, Alice found herself becoming increasingly obsessed with it. She was fascinated by its unique characteristics, and the more she learned about it, the more she wanted to know. She would often stay in the clearing for hours on end, observing the creature and taking detailed notes in her notebook. She would make sketches of the creature, capturing its every movement and expression. Her obsession with the creature was all-consuming, and she couldn't think of anything else. Dr. Gregory was pleased with the progress they were making, but he couldn't help but notice Alice's increasing obsession. She would often neglect her other responsibilities and would become agitated when he suggested they take a break from the study. She felt that he was holding her back from doing more research, and she began to resent him for it. As her obsession grew, Alice began to secretly observe the creature even when Dr. Gregory wasn't with her. She would sneak off into the forest and spend hours observing it, taking notes and making sketches in her notebook. She became convinced that she was the only one who truly understood the creature, and that Dr. Gregory was holding her back from making greater discoveries. Her obsession with the creature began to put a strain on her relationship with Dr. Gregory. She felt that he was not taking the creature's discovery seriously enough, and she resented him for it. She started to withdraw from him emotionally and felt disconnected with her mentor. Dr. Gregory tried to reason with her and make her see that her obsession was not healthy, but Alice refused to listen. She was convinced that the creature was her destiny and that she was meant to study it for the rest of her life. As her obsession continued to grow, she became more and more isolated from Dr. Gregory, and it seemed as if their friendship and partnership was on the brink of collapse. Chapter 4. The friendship forms. As Alice and Dr. Gregory continued their study of the creature, they found themselves spending more and more time together. Despite the strain that Alice's obsession had put on their relationship, they were both dedicated to understanding and protecting the creature. At first, they still had their disagreements. Alice would become frustrated with Dr. Gregory's reluctance to reveal their discovery to the world, while Dr. Gregory would try to caution her about the risks of being too open about the creature's existence. But as they spent more time studying the creature and working together, they began to understand each other's perspective. Dr. Gregory began to see the creature in a new light, as something more than just a scientific curiosity. He could see how much it meant to Alice, and he began to realize that he needed to share their discovery with the world, not only for the sake of science, but also for the sake of the creature. Alice, for her part, began to understand that Dr. Gregory's concerns about the creature's safety were valid. She could see the potential dangers of revealing the creature to the world, and she began to appreciate Dr. Gregory's caution. They both saw that the creature's well-being was the most important thing, and they were willing to put aside their differences for the sake of it. Slowly, an unlikely friendship began to form between them. They were united in their passion for the creature and their belief in its importance. They began to rely on each other and support each other in their research. They spent more and more time in the clearing, studying the creature and discussing their findings. As they worked together, they began to realize that they had more in common than they had thought. They were both driven by a passion for discovery and a love of science. They both wanted to understand the creature and protect it, and they were willing to put in the hard work to make it happen. In time, the two of them became close friends and partners, united in their quest to understand the creature and share its existence with the world. They knew that it wouldn't be easy, but with the help of each other, they were determined to make it happen. Chapter 5. Revealing the creature. After months of research and study, Alice and Dr. Gregory finally felt ready to reveal their discovery to the world. They knew that it was a huge risk. There was no telling how the scientific community and the public would react to the existence of this new species. But they also knew that it was their duty to share their discovery with the world, for the sake of science, and for the sake of the creature. As they prepared to make the reveal, they both felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. They had worked hard to ensure that they had all the necessary data and evidence to support their claims, but they knew that nothing could guarantee how the world would react. The day of the reveal arrived, and Dr. Gregory and Alice made their way to a conference where they would make their announcement. As they stepped up on the stage and began their presentation, they could feel the eyes of the scientific community on them. They began by showing evidence of the creature's existence, including the detailed notes and sketches that they had made during their study. As they continued with their presentation, the reactions from the crowd started to become clear. Many of the scientists were excited and intrigued by the discovery, and they eagerly peppered Dr. Gregory and Alice with questions. But there were also some voices of concern, worried about how the creature would be treated by the public. The news of the creature's existence quickly spread beyond the scientific community, and soon the media was inundated with stories about the Monsterologist and the Apprentice and their incredible discovery. The creature became a sensation overnight, and Alice and Dr. Gregory found themselves in the spotlight. As they prepared to return home, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had done it. They had revealed the existence of the creature to the world, and the response was mostly positive. But there was also a sense of apprehension, as they knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but with their friendship and partnership, they were ready for the challenges that lay ahead. The reveal caused a sensation in the scientific community and the media, with people excited by the discovery of the new species. But it also drew attention to the creature's potential vulnerability and the need to ensure that it is protected and cared for in the right way. Chapter 6. Protecting the creature. With the creature's existence revealed to the world, Alice and Dr. Gregory knew that their work was far from over. They had to now focus on protecting the creature from those who would seek to exploit or harm it. They knew that they couldn't rest until they had ensured the creature's safety and well-being. They began by advocating for the creature's protection, lobbying government officials and working with other scientists to establish a sanctuary for the creature to live in peace. They knew that this would not be an easy task, as they would have to overcome the skepticism of government officials and other scientists who were still wary of the creature's existence. They also had to contend with the attention of the media, who were eager to know more about the creature and were not always sensitive to its welfare. They had to be careful about how much information they shared and what kind of images were shared to the public. As they worked to establish the sanctuary, they encountered many obstacles, including bureaucratic red tape and funding issues. But they remained determined, and eventually, they were able to secure a large tract of land in a remote location where the creature could live in peace and be studied by scientists from around the world. It was a huge milestone for them, and as they watched the creature being settled in its new home, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment and relief. They knew that the creature would still face challenges, but at least it would be in a safe and protected environment. To ensure the creature's safety and well-being, Dr. Gregory and Alice worked tirelessly to establish a team of dedicated scientists and researchers to study the creature, while also working to educate the public about the creature and its unique characteristics. They also advocated for stricter laws and regulations to protect the creature from poaching and illegal hunting. As the years passed, the creature's sanctuary grew into a world-renowned research center where scientists from around the world came to study the creature and its unique characteristics. Alice and Dr. Gregory were recognized as leading experts on the creature, and their friendship and partnership continued to thrive. But despite the progress they had made, they knew that there was still much work to be done to ensure the creature's survival. They remained vigilant, always watching out for potential threats to the creature's safety and well-being. They knew that they would have to continue to fight for its protection, but they were willing to do whatever it takes to ensure that the creature would continue to live in peace and harmony. Their discovery of the creature was not just a discovery of a new species, but also a discovery of a new friendship that was built on a shared passion and a shared goal to protect this unique creature and its existence for the future generations. Chapter 7. Challenges. As the creature's existence became more widely known, Alice and Dr. Gregory faced a number of challenges in their efforts to protect it. They had to contend with increased attention and scrutiny, both from the scientific community and the general public. One of the biggest challenges for Alice was navigating her relationship with the media. Reporters were constantly hounding her for information about the creature, and she struggled to balance the desire to share her findings with the public against her need to protect the creature's privacy. She knew that if she revealed too much information, it could lead to the creature being exploited or hunted. She had to be extremely careful with what information she shared and how she shared it. Dr. Gregory, on the other hand, faced challenges in maintaining control over the creature's study. As more and more scientists became interested in studying the creature, it became harder for him to oversee all of the research that was being conducted. He struggled to keep track of all the different studies and make sure that they were all being conducted ethically and with the creature's best interests in mind. Another challenge they faced was the balancing of the studies and the creature's welfare. They had to make sure that the creature's habitat was not affected and that the studies were not putting unnecessary stress on the creature. They had to establish strict guidelines for the researchers to follow and constantly monitor the studies to ensure that the creature's well-being was not being compromised. Despite these challenges, Alice and Dr. Gregory remained determined to protect the creature and its habitat. They knew that it was a difficult task, but they were committed to seeing it through. They worked tirelessly to ensure that the creature was being treated with the respect it deserved, and they were determined to make sure that it would continue to thrive in its sanctuary. Chapter 8. Acceptance. As the years passed, Alice and Dr. Gregory's dedication to the creature and its protection began to pay off. The creature became more widely accepted by the public, and it was respected for the unique and intelligent being that it was. The public learned more about the creature and its habitat through the efforts of Dr. Gregory and Alice. They made documentaries, wrote books and articles, and gave lectures about the creature, highlighting the importance of its conservation. They also worked with schools, encouraging young people to learn about the creature and its habitat. The creature's sanctuary became a popular destination for people who wanted to learn more about the creature, and the team was able to secure funding for its protection and preservation. They were also able to establish laws and regulations that protected the creature and its habitat. As the creature's acceptance grew, so did the respect for Alice and Dr. Gregory. They were recognized as leading experts on the creature, and their work was celebrated by the scientific community and the public alike. Their friendship deepened as they were united in their passion for the creature and their belief in its importance. They were each other's rock, supporting and encouraging each other through the challenges they faced. They were proud of the work they had done and the progress they had made in the creature's protection. Through their hard work, determination and friendship, Alice and Dr. Gregory were able to ensure the creature's protection and preservation, and it became a symbol of hope for conservation efforts around the world. The creature was living in peace and harmony, and its existence is now cherished by the public. The unlikely friendship of Alice and Dr. Gregory had become a story of perseverance, passion, and dedication. Chapter 9. Conclusion. As the story comes to an end, the creature is living in a sanctuary where it's well protected and studied by many scientists from around the world, including Dr. Gregory and Alice. The sanctuary has become a world-renowned research center, and scientists from around the world come to study the creature and its unique characteristics. The creature's existence has been widely accepted by the scientific community and the public, and it is respected for the unique and intelligent being that it is. Dr. Gregory and Alice have become leading experts on the creature, and their work has been celebrated by the scientific community and the public alike. They have written books and articles, given lectures, and made documentaries about the creature and its habitat, highlighting the importance of its conservation. Their friendship has grown stronger over the years, as they have been united in their passion for the creature and their belief in its importance. They have supported each other through the challenges they faced, and they are proud of the work they have done to ensure the creature's protection and preservation. As the story comes to an end, it's clear that their discovery of the creature was not just a discovery of a new species, but also a discovery of a new friendship that was built on a shared passion and a shared goal: to protect this unique creature and its existence for future generations. The creature's existence has become a symbol of hope for conservation efforts around the world, and Dr. Gregory and Alice's story of perseverance, passion, and dedication has become an inspiration for others to follow. Their discovery and study of the creature has not only been a scientific breakthrough, but it also has been a testament to the power of friendship and the importance of protecting our planet's unique and